This episode is brought to you by the University of Warwick's PGCE-I and PGCE IQTS programs, specifically designed to give music teachers the qualification they need to apply for jobs around the world. Stay tuned for more information. Welcome back to the Music Teachers in International Schools podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cormer. Hope you're all doing well and have been enjoying the recent episodes. At the time of this recording, we are just preparing for the big gig Japan, and we have two more big gigs in Mumbai and Bangkok scheduled for March, where it's going to be an amazing space to bring together a bunch of MTIS community members. We also have our World Music Pedagogy online courses starting at the end of February, which still have a few places available. So of course, head to the Professional Learning tab at mtiis.co to find out more. My guest for this episode is Sam Wormald, the head of curriculum for the performing arts at Dubai English Speaking College, or otherwise known as DESC. Sam has been working at her school for 6 years and has implemented a rather unique change at her school, which I'll let her explore with us. As a focus point for today, we're going to be digging into exam board choices, which for me as an uninitiated Australian was always a bit confusing because we basically can't choose between exam boards in Australia. We have a different curriculum for each state, and that's pretty much it. But in England and in some other countries, end-of-school examinations have been privatized, and in the international school world, it's basically a free-for-all. Choose your exam board, pay the appropriate fees, and then use the exam offer maybe as part of the marketing of your school. Some exam boards, therefore, are deemed better than others, but of course, this is all rather subjective. In music, exam board choice can dictate the entire framework of a music department. It's a fascinating space to explore. So let's get into this. Sam, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Chris. Thank you very much for inviting me on today for this podcast. I'm really quite excited about discussing all these issues with you and telling you about my journey, I suppose.
Well, it's great to have you with me. And as I often like to do, I'd love to learn more about your initial journey to international school music teaching. Can you take us through that?
Yes, definitely. So I was very lucky initially to spend 11 years prior to moving out here teaching in a really small independent school in the UK. And that was in a beautiful place called Robin Hood's Bay. Sounds idyllic. It really was idyllic.
Yep.
And actually, it was during my time there that I was first introduced to something additional to the traditional exams of music and drama A-level. And I found RSL while I was here. And then fast forward to 2018. As a family of four, my husband and I and our two children, we decided to make the move to Dubai for a few reasons, really. The first being that my husband is a landscape gardener, and he just could not face one more winter in the northeast of England. Those who live there will know exactly what I'm talking about. And secondly, we were enticed, I suppose, by the thought of a better lifestyle and to explore the international educational system, which was completely new to me. So I had worked in state school in the UK for many years, and then I moved to obviously a smaller independent school. And it was only at that time that I actually realised that schools in the UAE, schools abroad internationally, were private schools. So that I hadn't previously realised that. So having worked in a private school, it felt like quite a nice progression into something different. And then I found DESC. A DESC had already established a name for itself, but I found it on the TES. Every teacher looks on the TES, as we know. And this sort of came up, Dubai English Speaking College, and I had heard about it. I had some friends living in the UAE at the time. I asked the right questions. Anyway, a job came up initially as teacher of music. That was it. Teacher of music in Dubai English Speaking College. So I thought, right, I'll have a go. Applied for the job, had an interview in London with the current headmaster at the time. And during that interview, he said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm not just a music teacher. I teach music, drama, dance, performing arts. But one thing I really love as part of my job was introducing RSL courses in Kappa and multiple creative and performing arts and music practitioners." And he seemed really, really keen. He was really interested to chat to me about it. He asked me a few questions. I explained what the course was, and he started writing notes. And at that point, I thought, this interview is going well.
Hmm.
And he said, I love the sound of these courses. I think it's just what we're looking for in Dubai. Yes, I'll employ you as a music teacher, but I think your role could be much more. What do you think? And it was that point I knew that that was the right role and the right school for me.
Wow.
And that was 2018. So that was the initial journey.
That's brilliant. And for those who are listening and you've heard this term RSL thrown around, why don't we just talk a little bit about that? What is RSL Awards? Just give us a brief overview of what that is.
So many people, when they hear the word RSL, particularly if you're a music teacher, you will imagine in your head, oh yeah, the exam board that does the drum exams and the popular vocal exams. That's what people initially think it is, but it's much more. As a teacher, you can probably relate to RSL in the same way that you would think of EdXL or AQA or OCR. RSL is actually an exam board. It's just an abbreviation for Rock School London. Now, when people hear Rock School London, their kind of immediate thought is Jack Black running the School of Rock in a school. There is a little element of that, thankfully. But no, it's just the terminology for the exam board, and they do so much more. This is actually a huge organisation, very personable organisation. That's why I've grown to love it so much. I feel like I know all the staff who work there, and I can just contact them at the drop of a hat whenever I need anything and get an immediate response almost. And RSL offer vocational courses for schools to teach at level 2, which is GCSE level, the equivalent, level 3 being A level, and it does go on to level 4, which is more of a university level. But yeah, in short, RSL is Rock School London that provides syllabuses for you to run A levels and GCSEs in a very, very practical manner. Don't be fooled, it's not a BTEC. It's not called BTEC, it's RSL vocational level 3 or level 2 courses.
Great. And for those who are listening that might be more familiar with the IB framework, we're talking MYP, upper MYP level, and IBDP equivalent exams as well. And I'm sure we'll go into more about the exam structure, but I think that gives us a good overview. And I think you're right. I've had some interaction with RSL over the years, and they're so personable. We had Patrick from RSL come to one of our big gigs, and yeah, just such a legend, like really cool guy.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that you've met Patrick and you're in Australia, I've met Patrick. He's come and flown out to Dubai twice now. I met Patrick when I was in North Yorkshire. People who I know who delivered this all over the globe have met Patrick. I can't tell you one person I've ever met at any point from any other exam board that I've delivered in the 22 years I've been teaching.
Fair call. Yeah.
That in itself is definitely for me a positive draw to an exam board, the communication, lines of communication.
Yeah. Brilliant. I was going to ask you a little bit more about Dubai, but maybe we'll save that for the end because I think we're kind of into this now. Can you tell us a bit more about what led you and your team then? I mean, you've already mentioned the supportive principle at the interview stage, so maybe you'll talk a bit more about that too. But what led you and the team to transition over to RSL Awards as the main qualification that you offer students at your school?
Okay, so I think this is a big part of probably, I'll be addressing here, I think, people's concerns perhaps about transitioning, because it is a huge thing. So, you know, initially, during my initial 4 years at an international British curriculum school, which is DESC, my focus was on delivering music A level and drama and theatre studies A level. But I concurrently offered level 3 music practitioners, which is the MUSPRA course, and the level 3 creative and performing arts Kappa as entirely separate courses. So I was teaching both music and drama A level, MUSPRA and Kappa. And then over that period, in the first 4 years, a trend emerged, and that was kind of the diminishing enrollment for traditional A levels. So I know that you were saying earlier, you worry about losing numbers. We had quite the opposite. And it was immediately apparent from year 1 that we were starting diminishing the numbers in the traditional A levels and doubling almost every year the numbers with our RSL vocational courses. So notably, the reasons why is music A level is where the course is practical grading and the theoretical demands. They create, whether you want it or not, an elitist dynamic. And then simultaneously, the level 3 practitioner students were having these amazing immersive experiences. They were recording albums, releasing them on Spotify, getting 5,000 followers, for a 17, 18-year-old student. That's huge. And then my A-level drama and theatre study students were suddenly seeing a disparity between their curriculum and then the dynamic things that were going on in the level 3 Kappa course. So while the A-level students were immersed in traditional academia, writing, 1,000-word essay every week on theatre practitioners and outdated scripts, in my opinion, their level 3 Kappa counterparts were actively involved in screen acting and green screen technology and creating an advert and directing short films and doing 92 performances in the last academic year at DESC rather than one A-level performance with one practitioner.
Can I just pause you there? I know you're on a train of thought, but just for definition of terms, can you just help us with Kappa level 3, just so we're all clear on what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kappa level 3, it's an abbreviation for creative and performing arts. In its most simple terms, it's an alternative for me to drama A-level, drama and theatre studies A-level. However, you can choose an acting pathway, a dance pathway, a musical theatre pathway. You can mix all three. You take 7 units over the 2 years. I'm very lucky to be able to make that bespoke to every student. So we don't have, these are the 7 that you study at DESC. I meet the students in September and say, what do you fancy out of this list of 100 units that range from ensemble theatre performance and jazz dance to musical theatre performance to podcast recording to acting for the green screen camera, anything. We'll offer all of it. So it's, for me, was a replacement for drama and theatre studies A-level. Well, it has now become a replacement. If it was something that you were introducing into a school, it kind of ticks the box of dance, ticks the box of musical theatre, and ticks the box of acting. And I mean theatre acting or screen acting.
Yeah. And that's from RSL Awards?
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
So most pro music practitioners, that's the equivalent of A-level music, I suppose.
Yep.
With 45 options of units, and again, you do 7. And Kappa, creative and performing arts, is a level 3 that we offer here, which is the equivalent of a drama A-level or a dance A-level or a musical theatre A-level or a BTEC performing arts, but has many, many more options than the BTEC.
Great. And obviously we'll provide links to all this in the show notes so people can click away and follow along. But I'm with you. So we've got Mus practitioner or music practitioner and the Kappa level 3, and they have all sorts of roles by the sounds of it in potentially replacing a more traditional A-level.
Yes. What might be handy for your listeners is I've just over the years, I've created a PowerPoint for teachers who are thinking about or are maybe getting a little bit tired of the old exam boards and the traditional way of teaching and might be interested in introducing these RSL courses in either MUSPRA or Kappa or both. I've created a PowerPoint for first timers and to give them my best advice on potential ways in and how to actually set up and start in a school.
That would be amazing.
I'm happy to share that with you, and you could share that with your listeners.
That would be brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
No worries. So yeah, I was seeing this huge gap in what I was delivering. I was delivering the traditional subjects and I was delivering the vocational level 3 RSL subjects. And obviously I could see it and feel it as a teacher, but it became this huge divide with the students. And all of a sudden there was a bit of jealousy going on. And the students who were taking the music and drama and theatre studies A-levels were seeing that there was this increasing gap in opportunity. And suddenly we had this shift. And that was massively reflected in our enrolment numbers. And then the subsequent success stories that came with that. So in the 6 years I've been here, particularly in the last 3 years, the alumni that we have had gaining admission into prestigious music conservatoires, acting schools globally, is really the testament to the practical exposure that they've been given and the genuine passion that the RSL qualification fosters. So after 4 years of careful observation, I would say the decision was made for us at DESC to discontinue the A-levels in music and drama and theatre studies. And that wasn't a decision made lightly, and it wasn't made suddenly. It was a gradual, a kind of natural transition into something that was relevant in the industry. So this transition lifted, I suppose, a weight off the academic approach for the students. And it kind of gave me a new sense of joy as a teacher. It gave my department and our teachers, who some of them have been here over 20 years, suddenly the spark ignited back into the teaching. And, you know, as an educator, it's joyful teaching RSL. I can really tell you that honestly. I do feel fully supported. I have a great team with me, but I feel supported from RSL. You know, they encourage and kind of light a fire under me to want to do more and provide more opportunities. So yeah, I feel that we now teach courses that kind of seamlessly blend the theoretical knowledge, but with great practical industry relevant experiences. That's what I would say is my take on how I blended it and how I introduced it into a school.
And I think you've outlined already some of the positive outcomes potentially. You know, you mentioned some of the alumni and the successes they may have had. I can't even say that word today. The successes they may have had. What else has been positive? Like anything else that's come out of this, maybe on a school level, or anything else you can think of that has been a positive result of introducing the RSL VQs?
So many positives. So firstly, where they're going on to is phenomenal. You know, I've got somebody flying tomorrow to the UK. She has her second callbacks for Italia Conti and GSA. So that's very, very exciting. I think one great thing for me personally as an educator is 100% of my Kappa and Muspra students go into the industry. 100%.
Wow.
So every single student at DESC currently who takes Muspra and Kappa are applying to a music conservatoire or a professional acting school, which is, well, it's never happened before.
That's
in my
amazing.
career.
Yeah.
Used to be the one A-level music student you'd be dragging through because they wanted to go to Oxford to study journalism and they needed music. So a very, very different approach. I think seeing students ready for industry. We had a student here, he won't mind me sharing his name, Harvey he was called, who studied music production, and he was sort of a student who didn't really know where he wanted to be, didn't really know what he wanted to study. And he studied the tech side of Muspra. He also did some performing and composing, but he really, really loved the tech, and music sequencing and production is a unit that I've grown to love. I've really kind of come along in my tech understanding and knowledge. And he loved the kind of production side of things. And we needed him to find, he wanted to use his own time to find a recording studio in Dubai to go and record some material. And our recording studio at school was busy. We were using it for an event. And he realized that there's only one in Dubai currently that he could use, and it was expensive and it didn't have everything he wanted. It didn't have all the industry standard kind of material. So he applied to university and he got accepted into BIM, the British Institute of Modern Music. And he was really excited to go. And then he took a year out, he deferred a year, and he thought, I'm just going to have a look at what I could do with the knowledge I already have. And to cut a long story short, he actually didn't go to BIM in the end, and he's opened his own studio in Dubai and is immensely popular and busy and has been successful in making a career as an 18-year-old. But I mean, he's 19 now, but he saw an opening, he saw a market, he had the experience to go from school into industry, which is certainly not what I would have advised anybody doing the pure music A-level course to do. It just doesn't give you that experience. Whereas the hands-on experience, he'd probably done front of house for maybe 60 professional live gigs at DESC. So he had the experience, probably the same experience he would have got in 2-3 years at university. So that's a huge positive. Another huge benefit, I suppose, is just seeing the passion come back to teachers that were perhaps thinking of maybe retiring or changing career direction. That's been lovely. People willing to try new things. I personally have been on a huge journey as a music techie. I'd call myself more of a performer and composer and director. But actually I'm loving getting involved in green screen with Kappa and filming and adverts, and really becoming quite strong with my tech aspects in music practitioners, which at the age of 41 I did not think I would be doing those kind of things. So you know, it's open doors, and I think that's just a few elements of what I can tell you have been amazing. Oh, also, I suppose the biggest thing to share with you is we have 100% 5-year pass rate at Distinction Star. Nobody has ever not achieved a Distinction Star who's taken MUSPRA level 3 or CAPA level 3.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a few positives right there. And just for context, I'm just imagining people might be thinking, what was your musical background? Like, it sounds like you've come from a different background, like where you just mentioned your tech learning and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your instrument? Where have you come from with all this?
So my instrument is my voice and the piano. Outside of school, and certainly back in the UK, I do a bit of it. And I suppose inside school here, I MD a lot. I direct musicals as the musical director rather than the acting director. We have a great team here. So currently doing High School Musical. And then I kind of had a band outside of school where I was the lead singer. But yes, my education was at school. I was during the education time where you were discouraged from taking creative and performing arts subjects, and I wanted to take music, art, and drama, and they said two. So I had to drop art, and I always said if they'd let me do art, I might have been a music, art, and drama teacher. But I've ended up obviously being a music, drama, dance, doing all the things I love. I then went on to university in Liverpool and had a fantastic time at LIPA. Really enjoyed my time there. Liverpool is such a fantastic city for music and drama. It was just a wonderful introduction to culture for me, coming from the northeast of England. And I embraced everything Liverpool had to offer me. And then I moved up to Leeds, further up north, to do my PGCE in drama at the time. But I've always kind of had my hand outside of school within the music circuit. So Whitby is actually a wonderful town for music. So we have Martin Carthy and Eliza Carthy, who are quite famous folk musicians. I used to take my students, perhaps shouldn't be sharing this, but I used to take my students from Filing Hall down to the pub, the local pub, the Grosvenor, on a Tuesday night, where Steve Phillips and the Rough Diamonds would perform, and sometimes Dire Straits' Mark Knopfler would be there playing the guitar with Steve Phillips, and they would invite the A-level students to come along and play along with them or play in the interval. So it was a wonderful exposure to music living in Whitby. So I kind of always had that. We had a fantastic theatre. I used to be in the plays myself. And then moving out to Dubai, I was kind of sad to leave that behind, but the opportunities that have opened up here are equally fantastic. I still get to direct musicals. I get to see these students go off to these fantastic places. So that's, I suppose, my background. It was very different music at school. I would have loved to take MUSPRA and CAPA. I say that to my students. I must say that at least 10 times a week. I'm really jealous, but very, very happy that I get to deliver that and get paid to deliver that daily. Yeah. So, yeah, I do often say to the students who are going off to music conservatoires and acting schools, they say, do you think I'll make it, miss? Do you think I'll make it in the industry? And they go into a variety of aspects like lighting, sound, backstage. So, of course, they're going to make it because this is an industry that's thriving post-COVID. It's come back bigger. But I always say, would you be sad doing my job? And they always said, no, you've got the best job. I said, well, there you go. I always come and do my job. So I do feel very lucky.
Very nice. A bunch of MTIIS community members have successfully secured international school music teaching jobs after completing their online PGCE-I or PGCE IQTS courses through the University of Warwick. If you're looking for a university qualification to teach music in an international school, this is the best option I've seen so far. To learn more and register, visit warwick.ac.uk/CTE. That's warwick.ac.uk/CTE. What about some of the challenges of this transition, if any? Has anything happened since you brought in this approach that's been really challenging?
There are challenges, and that really is a mindset challenge. So the biggest challenge I've had here, and I can guess that this would be certainly a global issue, is changing that old-fashioned mindset that parents and teachers and some SLT leaders have, that a vocational subject is something less than an A-level.
I feel like I can hear everyone listening just going, I was going to ask that. I bet she was going to say
If I
that.
could shake the heads of the parents and the teachers that have kind of tried to convince me that it's not worthy, I have now proven. So I always say, look, I'm proving to you. I have students that go to red brick universities who are taking these. I had a student go to Durham to do architecture last year who loved the Musborough course, level 3 Musborough. These red brick UK universities accept Musborough and Kappa. Please don't mistake it with a BTEC. These things are valuable now. They're more valuable to your children. I've been doing this job for 22 years, and I am telling you, as a mother of 2 A-level students and a teacher, that these subjects are the subjects that are going to prepare your children, your students, for a future in industry, in the creative and performing arts industry. These are the subjects that the professionals, the theatre owners, the agents want you to be doing, not studying drama and theatre studies where you study one practitioner and perform twice in 2 years. That's not what they're looking for. That's great if you're going off to do history at Birmingham University. But if you want to go to ArtSed or Italia Conti, or you want to go to the Royal Academy of Music, you need to have performed. You need to understand how to run a studio. You need to set yourself up with live sound. You need to learn how to level and balance. You need to learn how to work with people. And if you've not experienced that, you're going to spend 3 years at university training to do something you can cover in Musborough or Kappa in 2 years. So that's the biggest challenge, I would say. I have a very supportive head teacher here and a very supportive sixth form team who are willing to listen, have sat down with me, have seen the results, have seen the alumni. We now have a whole kind of program in place. Whereas a school, we obviously support the Oxbridge students who are on that journey. And then we sort of have a performing arts music Oxbridge pathway, which is if you want to go to one of the best music conservatoires or you want to go to one of the best acting schools globally, we will support you and train you in that, but you've got to trust us. And we initially 6 years ago had some concerns and from parents. Now they've seen what's happened and they've seen the benefits of this course. And as a teacher, I just want to give parents peace of mind that talk to the staff, ask the questions, where can they go? What limitations is this going to get? It's limitless. That's the point. The point of these RSL courses is I find there is no ceiling on it. Whereas I was really feeling limited with the music A-level and the drama and theatre studies, hence why I went looking for this course. I could have continued on that path for the rest of my career, but it wouldn't have been the right decision for the students. So this is a fast-moving industry, the creative and performing arts. It's fast-paced. The world is moving. Education has been the same since I started in 2001. Not a lot has changed, so I've had to go and find the change. And it's altering that, I suppose, mindset from 20 years ago that, if your student doesn't really know what to do or they're not bright enough, how's about this course? It's not about that. You've got to be very bright and switched on for these courses. You've got to be ready to work hard and open to opportunity and experience. So yes, that is going to be your biggest issue. My way around that, and my advice, I suppose, to, let's say you're at a school maybe in Singapore and you've been teaching music or drama A-level for years and years, and you'd like to dabble, you'd like to put your toe in the water, but you're not sure how. So I had this conversation a couple of years ago with our head teacher about GCSE. I said, can I bring in level 2 to GCSE instead of the GCSE music and drama? And he said, well, I'm not sure. Those courses are still fairly popular. I said, okay, can I do it as a club? Can I start it as an after-school club twice a week? I'm going to hand pick students who I think don't have the opportunity, who wouldn't maybe have taken these subjects because they're not grade 4, because as we know, music GCSE, if you're not grade 4 or 5, there's no point taking it. You're not going to get a C. So I was going to prove my point and say, right, if you enjoy listening to music or you just like it, you like to talk about it, you've got a great ear for listening, your parents have an eclectic style, come along, I can get you a distinction in a dual award GCSE. And that's what I did. I set up a club. I had a great member of staff kind of lead that for me. And we get our first results this year. And it's been so popular that we are now offering it in September as a GCSE. So Muspra is now into our curriculum. We trialled it for a year. It was so popular that now it's probably going to end up being that Muspra will ingrain that for a year into the curriculum. And I think we'll probably die out music GCSE.
Nice.
That's my advice. Just
That's
give it a
great.
go. Look around it. Create a club if you have the time, you've got the commitment. Do it. Try it. Go back with the facts. These are the facts and the figures. Please let me have a go.
So if someone was listening to this thinking, I actually want to have a go at this, would that be your number one piece of advice? Like start it as a club? Or would there be anything else that you would say?
Well, I suppose my advice would be don't look at this transition as abandoning the past.
Yeah.
You're not abandoning the past. You're embracing your future. And that future I can promise you, it's going to be vibrant. It's going to be relevant. It'll be filled with new possibilities. You know, RSL is empowering teachers. So take that opportunity. They're offering you the flexibility of units. They're not telling you, listen to these 8 pieces of music and study them for 2 years. They're saying, what are your kids into? What do they like? What have you got at school that you can offer them? What as a teacher are you good at? And what would you like to deliver? That's what we're saying. So yes, I did a preliminary trial with level 2 as an ECA. We call it an extracurricular activity. That's not initially committing, is it, to the curriculum? You're just exploring interest. So don't put the pressure on yourself to completely change your curriculum if you're not ready to make that change. Just have a go, phase it in, try it, and you'll see for yourself. It's a way in.
Yeah. Well, we will leave a link to the information, from RSL Awards. I'm sure it's pretty easy to find all the information. I was just on the website before and it's pretty navigable. You can sort of click away and find out about the courses that have been mentioned. So that'll be really great. And yeah, your offer of your PowerPoint, I'm sure people will love that. So we'll have to make sure we get that if that's still okay.
Absolutely. I will literally drop you an email with the link to it and you can share that with your listeners. No problem.
So good. Right. Well, I'm excited. I want to start a elective for this course now. Just before we sort of wrap things up, because I think we've covered a lot, and I think there's plenty there for people to go with. But what are you looking forward to most? Like 2024, what's ahead for you? Dubai, staying on longer term, seeing this RSL Awards thing through. Where are you heading? What's ahead for you?
Yeah, so initially we were going to stay 7 years and see our children through to university and leave with them. But why would I leave when I've just sorted out level 2s in the curriculum, level 3s now taken over? I have a great team. I suppose one thing I'm really looking forward to is every year we do something called the Key Stage 5 Showcase. Key Stage 4 will now creep into that. So Key Stage 5 is A level. That's the level they're at. And we have this massive showcase event, and it's as big as a musical. We go big at DESC. We have this great theatre and lots of support. So the students put on their own show. It's about 1 hour and 15 minutes long, and it's anything goes. So it's kind of media, it's compositions, it's scenes from musicals, it's solo songs, it's huge sister act ensemble choirs, it's anything. And I'm right in the midst of that. It's actually going to happen in April this year. So I'm very much looking forward to that. This year we have a new feature in that, which is some little video clips between the acts that tell you where our students are going on to and where they've been accepted into. Because we now have so many success stories, we want to celebrate that. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to expanding my team. So we've got a new member coming on this year who's going to learn the Muspra ropes. That excites me. We've been told that we can have these brand new soundproof practice rooms, which something that I'm really excited about, which is going off a little bit on a tangent, but Key Stage 3, I haven't mentioned anything about Key Stage 3, our year 7, 8 and 9 students. So how are we going to get them to see this link and want to do the GCSE level? So we've introduced, certainly in music, we've completely radicalized our curriculum, and we've gone to something called Musical Futures, which if you're an interested music teacher in practical lessons, look it up. It kind of teaches your students how to be in a band. It teaches them to play the ukulele, the guitar, the keys, vocals, and be really quite good on all of those instruments. And don't be afraid if you're a teacher who can't play those instruments. You can learn with the students. It's really, really self-explanatory. It's great. And that means that now at Key Stage 3, rather than sitting down learning note names and note values, I've found that my level 3 MUSPRA students who have been kind of exposed to performing for 5-6 years, now I'm starting music theory with them, just 1 hour a week, just for their own interest. They pick it up, even our drummers, like that. And they've never even looked at a piece of sheet music, but they've got the understanding, they can apply it to something. When you do it the other way around, which the curriculum states, the normal national curriculum in music states that you learn your note values, you learn your note names before you've even tried to play anything, there's no connection there. So we are radicalising now our Key Stage 3 level 2. We've done it in drama. It's fully practical in drama. It's brilliant. We do things like Roald Dahl, magic spells, and Harry Potter, and all performance. No writing, no books, no chairs, we don't even have chairs and tables in the room. We've removed them in both music and drama. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing, how we can actually now start going lower down the school so that everyone is firing in the same direction, so that it's kind of a through line. But you've got to start small. Don't be afraid. You're probably listening. People might be listening to me thinking, wow, the whole school's on board, the whole Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4, Key Stage 5. That did not happen overnight. You know, my first day here, we didn't have RSL at all at any level. So start small and you can make these changes every year. Just have a plan. I suppose that's where I'm at for the future. I like to have a plan. This year's plan is Key Stage 3. Next year, I'm sure it'll be something else. But yeah, don't be afraid.
Fantastic. Sam, if anyone wants to get in touch with you specifically, I didn't prep you for this question, so we can cut it if it goes nowhere. But if anyone wants to get in touch, what's the best way to do that?
Probably via email. You can share my email with anyone who gets in touch who wants to ask any questions. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I did say this to Patrick when he came and visited me, and I think there's another school in Dubai going to trial it. And I said, look, please, the only way you're going to feel confident with this if you've got somebody you can ask questions. You know, I was very lucky. I just went to RSL and they were on hand. But I'm happy to be on hand. And if anyone has any questions about, you know, well, anything, setting up, what did I, you know, even how do you implement something, or how do you teach this unit? I'm happy to give my advice. You know, it is only advice. I wouldn't say I don't work for RSL. Absolutely not. I'm just a teacher. But I am very strongly on board with their values as an exam board.
Well, I think we might leave it there. Thanks so much for your time, for sharing your energy and enthusiasm. I mean, it was permeable. I'm here in Australia and I could feel it. So thank you for that. Thanks for taking us on your journey as well. Is there anything else you want to say? Any questions, comments, thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I suppose it's actually been really nice to talk about it. You know, I obviously wax lyrical to the kids here, and I suppose, yeah, if you're listening to this and you can feel that energy, my point is I've been doing this job for 22 years and I've seen a lot of teachers tired, complaining. I come to work and can't wait to get in that classroom. You know, this morning just before this podcast, I've had a fantastic morning using Logic Pro, throwing all these great samples and ideas together, using improv with the kids, recording things. I've had a great morning and I'm at work, you know. So if you are feeling that and you're feeling that, oh God, I don't really know where this job's going anymore, or you're not inspiring the kids, then you can change. There is something you can do about that. And if you want to, it can be great. So that's my message. Have a go. Don't be afraid.
Thank you so much, Sam. And I look forward to maybe meeting you somewhere around the world and catching up in person. But until then, thanks again and all the best.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Music Teachers in International Schools podcast. Listen to other episodes by visiting mtiis.com or learn more about our community on Facebook by simply searching for Music Teachers in International Schools. If you know someone who you think I should get on the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me at chriskoelma.com, ChrisKoelma.com. See you next time.